It's me again. Welcome to the behind-the-scenes video of Faith-Based, the story of the making of a prayer in space, the story of the first prayer ever to be prayed in space.
Hey, Luke, you being a little bitch, or?
These guys have this. All right,
Well, let's wait one more beat.
Bingo!
What the hell is going on?
And action. Action. Starting with like you're in the middle of a game.
Would you say this is behind the steams?
Faith-Based is a movie about two guys who realize that all Christian movies make a bunch of money.
So they set out to make one of their own, even though they're not Christians and don't know how to make movies.
I can give you a tour of my private trailer here. I play a character named Tanner. That is my name.
I'm famous Hollywood actor Luke Barnett. I'd like to take you over to my trailer. In the movie, I play Luke. He's got an interesting relationship with his dad. He's desperate to be a success and to make him proud, and he often goes about attempting that in maybe the wrong way.
What do you two even know about making a movie?
Vince and I had our first movie come out called Fear Inc. We were pitching a lot of TV shows and movies.
A lot of them went really well, and we kind of got some momentum on a few of them, but none of them ever went anywhere big, and none of them were paying us. And so at one point, Luke turned to me and he's like, why don't we just make a faith-based movie? Those make a lot of money, and then we can fund our own movies after that.
It's tough business, man, but you guys are young, looks like you guys got it together. I think, you may do good.
Yeah, exactly.
Right.
The original idea before we ever had any money was like, let's take our phones, get all of our friends together and make this movie.
Luckily, we have a lot of talented friends.
Give me the date of the shoot, motherfucker.
That whole "it's who you know" thing. Like, I never say that. It's like, man, it's who you know. I said, no, it's who knows you and likes you.
Okay, guys, it's fine. Just crop out the explosives and I'll add that in VFX. I can fix this whole thing in the edit. I almost said yes before I even read the script, to be honest, because I've never heard him like that, and Luke and I used to be roommates.
I'm gonna write a book one day. It's gonna be called Everybody Should Work in a Bar, because of every connection I've ever made from when I worked in bars.
The bar you go into, and then Luke knew my work, and he's like, oh man, I'd really love to work with you someday. I'm like, yeah, fuck, someday, maybe.
Herman, you want another?
Does a tree shit in the woods if you don't hear it fall?
That's a yes.
Well, when I got this script, it was really exciting because I actually have done a couple of faith-based films. And it's wonderful to be able to see the funny elements in what you do in day-to-day life. I think that's what makes it all worthwhile.
There he is. Nothing like a refreshing McLeod ale to put our puzzles together with.
Boy. Visuals and locations. Faith-Based is an ode to the Los Angeles Valley, the San Fernando Valley. The official beer of Faith-Based is Van Nuys beer. It's made by McLeod Brewery, which is like 4 miles that way. Almost every single location is in the valley.
We shot at Luke's house, we shot at Tanner's house, we shot at my house.
We shot at my in-laws' house. We shot at the bar that Tanner and I worked at.
We shot at places where we throw axes. We found a velodrome.
Why not go to a velodrome and shoot a scene that could have been shot at a coffee shop?
Where am I?
This is the Encino Velodrome.
We shot a scene where we play kickball. We shot a scene at our gym.
There's nothing weird about it.
Great job, Tanner. Awesome elbows.
We filmed in a church that is a church that Vince goes to.
Let's give it up one more time for the incredible band.
This is the scene where I fall in love with Lisa. She's a blinding light.
There's a scene where Tanner goes on this journey with the character played by Lisa Schwartz. And what we had originally thought of was having a scene down at the Santa Monica Pier where the two of them are throwing darts and walking down the pier and having a romantic moment. Our first day of shooting, we drove by one of those parking lot carnivals in the valley that was being set up. And we thought, why don't we try and shoot that scene at this carnival? We grabbed Tanner, and we grabbed Luke, and we grabbed Lisa and our DP, and we bought tickets to the carnival, And we started filming there, and no one stopped us. And so we ended up getting this location that looks like we spent $500,000 that we bought for the price of 5 tickets. And that's kind of the name of the game when you're an independent filmmaker. Cut. Great.
So how big is your love? And how big is your cross? As a symbol of that love.
It's just in the back.
I have a very, very small room, but my cross is still enormous.
Big.
It's enormous.
Oh, Jesus!
Here we go.
There's a lot of churches that are a little bit more on the liberal side, that are hip and young and serve amazing coffee, and the bands are really, really great.
And so how do you make a movie about a forward-leaning church without having a praise and worship band? Of course you gotta have a praise and worship band. We're getting ready to shoot a music video inside of a church. Churchception. That's what we're doing.
And I went to my brother-in-law, who is a part of my favorite LA comedy troupe. It's called Lost Moon Radio. And I said, hey, what if you wrote an original song where the beginning of it feels like this kind of could be a praise and worship song, but as the song goes on, it starts to feel like, what did he just say? And a week later, Ryan sent us 3 different tracks on an acoustic guitar that all could have been used in this movie and all were next level funny. And we chose Hung Across, and all of a sudden, it's probably my favorite part of the whole movie.
I only heard the first verse before this.
And now I dream about you dying every time I sleep. I have lights eyes closed. They can hold a real human being.
Will you help us? Please, 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 will you help us? Come on. We want to make a really good movie.
A lot of assumptions have been made about this film already, in the same way that a lot of assumptions are made about actual faith-based movies without anyone having seen that.
On the first day of shooting Faith-Based, we had an announcement go out in the Hollywood Reporter about our project.
A few hours later, Fox News and Breitbart wrote these articles that these Hollywood losers were making Christian bashing movie called Faith-Based.
People write things in the comment sections of those articles that I cannot respectfully say aloud. People think that we're bashing religious movies. We are not at all, but we also know that a little press is a good thing, and so we've courted some of the controversy.
I am famous Hollywood actor Marlon Young, and this is my trailer. Welcome. You know we're guerrilla filmmaking over here, kinda. Yeah, but you're doing this. So you're on their radar? It's great. It's great.
Why do all these Christian movies have to be bad?
They don't have to be bad. They just don't have to be good.
People talking about your movie is ultimately a really good thing, and it helped us get Margaret Cho in our project. When we sent her the offer, her team responded saying, actually, Margaret's already heard of this movie. She'd love to do it. And, when we shot with her, she was incredible. She exceeded our expectations.
Bonus points if God's actually in it.
Yeah, but good luck. His agent's a real asshole.
So when we started talking to actors about our movie, we started sending the Fox News articles saying, did you see what Fox wrote about our movie? People are talking about this. So ultimately, it was a great thing.
So then he says to me, well, if it's a 401k and not a 403b, are you really diversified?
We got so lucky with the comedy talent in this movie.
What's the budget of this so-called movie?
The role of Pastor Mike was something we had been talking about for a little while.
You've seen a lot of movies where an affluent white family adopts an African or African-American child. You rarely have seen something where an affluent African-American family has adopted a white kid, let alone a white kid that becomes an idiot.
We had seen Lance Reddick in a Funny or Die sketch called Toys R Me, and Lance Reddick is not known necessarily for his comedy. And so we thought we've got to try and see if we can get Lance Reddick to play Luke's dad in this movie. We sent out an offer.
The character that I'm playing is the one I was offered and that I was least interested in playing. Nikki Steele and the head of Christ Flex were the 2 roles that jumped out at me on the page.
And his agent called me a week later and said, Lance really likes the script. How would you feel about him playing Nikki Steele? And we basically said, okay,
If Lance wants to play Nicky Steele, we will cast Lance as Nicky Steele. But could we talk to Lance?
You know, as Luke explained kind of what his vision was, first of all, he said, you know, if you want to play one of those other two roles, let us know, because we're fine with that. And then I went back and I did something I rarely do. I went back and I read the role out loud. And then I got it.
And 2 days later, we got a call that says now he doesn't want to play Nicky Steele. He wants to play Pastor Mike.
This is gonna sound crazy, but one of my bucket list roles that I've been wanting to do is an evangelical preacher in a comedy.
And Luke, his work in pool sanitation, Lord, it is really something else.
Amen.
Lance was also the first major actor to sign on, and that really made everything else possible because people might not want to work with these three idiots that they've never heard of, but they do want to work with Lance Reddick.
Get out of here, bananas! I ain't no monkey! I'm a savage!
It's funny that in the script, you haven't got Butch Savage yet. And you don't have Butch Savage yet.
True to life.
It's ironic, while Luke and Tanner in the movie are trying desperately to get Butch Savage to play God, we had started to try to get an actual 80s action star to play Butch Savage.
We could get Butch Savage.
Is Butch Savage there?
Butch Savage is a great American hero. Butch Savage would be the all-time win. We've got to cast this character who's going to play God in the movie and save the astronaut in the movie. And we hadn't cast that role yet.
All right, here we go. Action Space Monsters!
Sometimes when you look for God really hard, you find David Keckner.
We reached out to David Keckner, who were like, there's no way he's gonna do this. And he said yes. We shot with him for, I think, 4 hours, and it was the most insane 4 hours I've ever spent on set.
I'm Butch Savage, and I like to pray. Where? Costa Mesa, Grace Bible Church of the Most High, where we are getting jacked for Jesus, shredded for Solomon, absolutely abdominal for Abraham, kicking for Christ. Both powerful. I choose this.
He would basically get the takes we needed and then just go for it. So you just kind of let David go, and he's probably gonna bring something 10 times funnier than I could have written.
Let's roll it.
Rolling.
Right, Celsius.
See you next 10. Take one. Hey, Mark.
The only thing standing between you and your dreams is you and your dreams.
We had a list of people we liked for Nicky Steele, and Jason was up at the top, and one of our executive producers had given a note that said perfect, but impossible.
We found out Luke had a connection to his manager, and so Luke called and said, do you think this is worth sending to Jason? And the manager said, look, Jason reads quick and he only does stuff that he wants to do, so it's at least worth sending. So we sent him the offer, and a few days later, we get an email, and I remember reading the email going, what? Jason Alexander wants to do our movie. And he completely knocked Nicky Steele out of the park.
You work hard, you play hard. You work harder, you play harder. You work hardest, you play rock hard.
If I see Nicky Steele, I'm gonna kick him in the dick.
My favorite story from working with Jason was at the beginning of the day, we were blocking.
And we had scripted that Nicky Steele was gonna throw Luke up against the wall, and the way the lobby of his house was laid out, it was kind of clunky and wasn't really working. So he turned to Luke and said, what if I just kicked you in the balls?
And I said, let's just try it. And the next rehearsal,
Why are you following me?
he kicked me in the balls, and everyone lost it. And we were kind of like, that's the move. And so in the final movie, George Costanza kicks me in the nuts.
Man, I didn't know what to expect. I walk in, I get kicked in the balls, but.
Say what?
I hear some stuff.
Yeah. You're starting with a really good script, and then you cast, and you've got great actors that bring this all to life. And then it's like kind of like another rewrite process when you're in the edit bay, because then it's its own thing. We spent a lot of time moving scenes around, cutting scenes out, chopping scenes in half. There's a lot of stuff we did that wasn't really the plan going in that we kind of realized we had to do.
From our first movie, Vince and I have always been huge proponents of doing readings of scripts and test screenings of movies. We did one screening at Red Studios, which is just this gorgeous screening space that David Fincher uses.
There's the scene in the film where God saves the astronaut on Mars. The intention was from the beginning to have Butch Savage do those lines. That's the way it was written.
And one of our big questions we asked was, were you surprised that Luke and Tanner got Butch Savage as God? And no one was surprised.
We're back on.
And that was kind of our first moment of like, maybe we should try Lance, because no one's gonna expect Luke's dad to be who called and saves the day.
Astronaut, you have come closer to touching the hand of God than any other astronaut before you.
A lot of people really resonated with the relationship between Luke and Tanner, the relationship between Luke and his dad, Lance Reddick, and we kind of doubled down on those beats when we went back into the edit bay after we screened it, because we realized people really liked those elements of the movie.
Oh my God, dude, that's so good.
That's so awesome.
From yesterday.
Holy shit.
Oh my God.
Good
So
job,
good.
dude. So good.
They're the creative minds behind Faith-Based. Joining us this morning, green suits and all.
Yeah.
Luke Barnett, Tanner Thomason. Good morning, guys.
Thanks, Joe. Thanks for having us. Thank you so much.
Congratulations on the movie, getting
Thanks,
into the
man.
festival. First of all, let's talk about the obvious, the green suits.
As we are going to be seeing the effects of the green screen. Take a look at that. It's great. It's nice and clear, and you're able to see it floating around. And this is what happens when you are wearing green. So for that reason, we avoid it, but it's pretty hysterical this morning. You guys are doing great. As you can see, the wind is going to be picking up right around Point Conception. Thank you so much for joining us this morning. That was awesome. You don't get to see floating heads every day. Now, that was a great look.
You know, you submit to festivals and you get into some of these festivals, you don't get into most of these festivals. So we'd gotten into the Santa Barbara International Film Festival and we were jazzed. Like, this is so cool, what a great opportunity. Santa Barbara is not very far from LA. We know that we can drive up there. We have a lot of friends in LA. We know we can talk them into and guilt trip them into driving up there and seeing the movie.
When we first started talking to the programmers, they said, you know, the safe bet is to pick the theaters that are about 150 to 200 seats. But we also have this big theater over here that's about 450 seats that rarely ever sells out. So you probably shouldn't pick that one. You should probably pick one of the smaller ones to make sure that you have a full crowd. Of course, Luke and Tanner and myself look at each other and say, we'll pick the 450 seat theater because we know we can get everyone up from LA.
Our premiere weekend could not have been more exciting. It was Santa Barbara's close enough that we were able to have hundreds of friends and family come up.
Welcome, this is the world premiere screening of Faith-Based. I'm looking at a sold out world premiere screening, so.
The premiere was sold out with, I don't know, 100 people waiting to get in, and you could feel the energy. Tanner and I were in neon green suits, which says something.
To premiere your feature film to a sold out crowd at a really big film festival in a big theater, it was wild. It was a crazy experience, and I couldn't have asked for a more exciting way to watch the movie for the first time in an environment like that.
I think so much of the press has been about us making this satire of the Christian film industry, but at the end of the day, we set out to tell a story about friendship that uses the Christian film industry as a comedic backdrop.
If you have any talent or any ability to make comedic content in the feature film world, you need to go out and make it because there's not enough of it.
The world is in such a seemingly dark place right now, whether it's politics or the pandemic, that I'm just excited to put out something that makes people feel good.
3, 2, 1.